Well, this is Grandpa Joe again, and I'm so happy that people were interested in what I had to say the last time. So I'm going to now address a couple of subjects that people wanted to know about. And let's talk about the House of Bread. That was one of the best uh, cooperative efforts that I could imagine between people. Well, what happened? It was early. I think it was the early '50s, about early '50s, and evidently cars weren't selling, so they were laying people off from the General Motors plants that were in town then. And that's the first time, if I remember, that even the word hunger, showed up in the newspaper. So I'm thinking, okay, what can I do? You know us. What can we do? It's ridiculous. We're going to make a pot of soup and put it out in front of the store. That doesn't make much sense. So I started calling around different agencies, and about the third or fourth call, one of the agencies said, there's been a sister's been calling. Let me give you her name. Okay. Gave me her name, gave me her phone number, called her, and we met. Sister Dorothy was a wonderful person, very diminutive, but very bright. She was the business manager of the Sisters of the Precious Blood out here on Salem Avenue. And we got to talking. We did organize the very first meeting was we got together a lot of the ministers from the churches on South Main Street, on South Salem Avenue, and one of the guys from Tony Hall, who was the representative at that time, who was always so big in hunger, and we all sat down and started to organize what was going to happen. Now, the interesting thing, we got two things done at that first meeting. Number one, if somebody showed up in line, they were going to eat. We didn't need identification, and we didn't need any cards. You show up, you eat. Number two, what are we going to name this place? Well, Mom and I had just come back from Israel, and when you come off of the desert area, from the arid areas into the, closer to Bethlehem and places, it's green. You see olive groves, you see things growing, and everything is green. And so I said, you know, Beit Lechem in Hebrew is house of bread. How close is that to Bethlehem? Beit Lechem. Well, of course, the name stuck, House of Bread, and that's how the name came to be. Well, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It took a year until we served our first meal. It was all the organizing and everything, and the fundraising that had to be done, and the volunteers that we had to find. Uh, it took a year, and we decided no, it was not going to be a bowl of soup and some bread. It was going to be a full meal from veggies to dessert and so on. And our first place of business, so to speak, was in an empty uh, building down on Salem Avenue. We eventually moved up the road on Salem. There was a lot of people that contributed. I remember there was a couple staying at the convent in the retirement place there. Every month, $100 came in to help support the thing. The NCR that had just recently remodeled their kitchen, we got hot tables, a refrigerator, all kinds of kitchen type of equipment from them and from many others. So it became a really cooperative effort. It was from humble beginnings to now. The House of Bread has their own building. They're in the process of adding to it a separate area where mothers and children can eat, and they serve. I believe the number is something around 300 or 400 meals a day, every day of the year. Uh, Sister Dorothy has a plaque down there. I have a plaque down there. But we go and visit once in a while, Mom and I, and it's these are the real folks that need a decent meal every day, and so that's what worked out for the House of Bread.